Good morning, Switch community. What you're looking at right here are Brussels sprout seeds. I'm so excited to harvest those here soon. We also have garlic down here, and this is cilantro. I'm harvesting for the seeds, which can be saved as seeds and planted next year, or can be used as coriander. Here I have a couple spider plants. And then through here, we have all of our snake plants. A couple more spider plants. This is a variety of plants that I've just stuck in water. I dug them up from my cousin's house, and I'm going to find a place to plant them soon. That lily probably has to be one of my favorites. Tray of mint. Everything is really loving this rain we've had. Okay, here's the side of the house. Another spider plant. So these initially were just set here because I didn't really have anywhere else to put them. But what I noticed is that the roots in the pot actually grew into the ground, surprisingly, because it's just rocks over here. And the plants really took off. So I'm just going to leave them here. These should be watermelon or cantaloupe, something like that. I honestly don't even remember at this point. Another spider. A little tray of flowers. Set this section up for my neighbors so they could look at something besides trash. And a little mini nasturtium. Potatoes. Look like they're doing pretty well over here. Kind of excited to harvest those here soon. Our wild blackberries are doing really well. We also have some bee balm, thanks to another Switch community member who was willing to share. And our goji berry. Highly unlikely we're getting anything off of that this season. However, it bounced back like a champ. So really enjoying watching this one grow. The fennel is doing pretty well over here. So excited about that. Now let's go take a look at the jungle. Oh, where to start? Okay, so I harvested radishes, well, the seeds yesterday. They were really falling over into everything. I went ahead and pulled them. Not all of them are dry, so I'm not really sure how the seeds are going to turn out here. But they have not been standing up for at least a month at this point. And it was creating a kind of a hazard in our little walkway. So I went ahead and pulled them. Some of the more dry ones I've stuck in another area. I still left a couple in there. These ones are mostly red radishes. And I have some purple radishes that I'm trying to collect seeds from too. So I'm going to leave them just a little bit longer. The hibiscus that was given to me last year, looking beautiful. Nice gorgeous flowers. Three varieties of mint in here. Tomato doing well. The nasturtium is actually really doing well. It's taking over almost every place that I've put it. However, what I've noticed is where it's at, there are very few bugs. So well played, nasturtium. That was your job this summer. A row of beets. Actually, the cool weather has really helped the beets grow quite substantially. There are a couple radishes over here. Some lettuce going to seed. The thyme's looking very nice. Echinacea doing really well. There's also some sage over there, some kale behind the sunflower. Cucumbers on this side are doing well. I think they have really enjoyed the rain. And we also have cucumbers on this side doing really well. And we actually just got to harvest a cucumber yesterday, which was exciting because we didn't even know it was there. The lavender is doing well. Celery through here. There's a pepper plant. Here are the Azoichka tomatoes. We've harvested several Azoichka tomatoes already, and it looks like there's one there that's probably the smallest. Well, this group here is pretty small too, but overall, good. They're really good tomatoes, actually. I've really enjoyed them. Candy cane peppers, the basil. Everywhere I've planted basil, it just looks amazing. Another candy cane. The pineapple. There's Cherokee purple tomato. This one will get picked today. We've picked 2 off of this plant already, and there are tomatoes just on it, on multiple plants throughout here. We also have eggplant. Finally, all of our struggles, several of the plants have eggplant on them. Our white eggplant is really doing well. It has 4 or 5 eggplant on it. You can see some more over here. Another purple down here. So there are at least 3 varieties. I think 4 eggplant. Clearly there's the white one, there's Black Beauty, there's the striped, and I believe there's also a long purple eggplant in here. I did get excited a few weeks ago, and I cut off the little eggplant and used them. There is a star striped eggplant that I cut off and used the little one in some food I cooked. All of the peppers over in this area are also doing really well. So I believe the majority of the peppers over here are bell peppers. Basil is doing really well over there too. This is the bonus pumpkin, I believe, that I showed you last week that had the vine borers on it. So it looks as though I got all of the eggs off. So it's doing pretty well here. Our blueberries, I think the birds have been eating the blueberries here anyway. They're mostly gone, and this particular plant was really full. So we have cabbage here. I'm probably getting ready to pull this one as well. We have seed pods on it that are turning brown, about ready to go, although I'm a little leery of pulling it just yet because those are so green. Here we have a couple cucumber plants in a pot. Also started growing roots through the bottom, so I just left them in the pot. Our rogue pumpkin is doing really well over here too. This has really been a bane of my existence, to come out and pull eggs and search for vine borers, but I've been pretty much on it every day. Always coming out and checking leaves, pulling off what I can, wiping bugs, squashing vine borers, aka stink bugs. And so far so good. I'm still finding a few seeds here and there, but being vigilant has really helped limit the bug infestation. Plus I've also found too, we have an assassin bug, at least one, which leads me to believe there are probably more, and several ladybugs this year, which we've never had either. So I think they're also helping. I've seen some very plump ladybugs, and I'm appreciative of that. So we're still just nursing the extras that grew and seeing if we can harvest from there eventually. Brandywine tomatoes. We have not picked any off of here yet. This one also hasn't been given as much TLC. I haven't trimmed it up, which needs to happen. But we do have tomatoes. These are our Carolina Reapers. They're looking really, really well. It also looks like there's a carrot in the middle. We have another Carolina Reaper. There was a pumpkin or something in the middle here that really seemed to stunt its growth. So it had a vine borer in it. I ripped it out. And it's doing a lot better now. We have potatoes coming up in the walkway, so that's creating a bit of a challenge to walk through here. Here's another bonus pumpkin, I think, growing in the middle of the vintage wine tomatoes. Basically, I've just, again, checked it for eggs and bugs and cut off any of the tendrils that are trying to choke the tomatoes. And all the plants have tomatoes on them. So we're doing really well over here too. And we have a basil. Alright, the next group of tomatoes in this area are Roma. And these plants are really doing very well. Lots and lots of fruit on the Romas. Another basil. Aroma here. I believe that was a sucker I cut off and stuck in the ground a little while ago, and it actually has a couple little tomato on it. This one was a bonus. It just seeded itself from somewhere. I'm not really sure what kind of plant that one is, but we're about to find out. So this is where I took up a lot of the radishes. We have pepper plants along. They're doing well. That's another reason why I pulled the radishes. They were just squeezing off some of the other stuff. You know, the carrots along the edges here weren't getting any sun. They were all in the middle of the walkway. Obviously, we haven't been able to weed this area very much. So it was time. That one is a purple one. I'm going to let those seeds dry before I pull that one. The habaneros, they're doing okay back here. Not as big as I had hoped they would be by now. The rosemary is really enjoying its home here. This lavender plant also likes where it's at. That one over there, not getting enough sun, I don't think. It's a lot smaller than I think it should be. Okay, back over here. So we also have some volunteer tomatoes. I believe these are red cherries from last year. And they have a couple on them too. We have a cucumber, I think 2 cucumber vining over our cast iron trellis, bed frame trellis. Our pollinator collection. As I've said before, we've left these in here. We planted them 3 years ago. They're chives, and we have just left them to grow. The pollinators just absolutely love them. So We harvest some, we eat some. For the most part, we leave them so we can attract pollinators. I have some cilantro, a variety of peppers through here as well. Cinnamon basil. I propagated a couple of those as well. Basil is super easy to propagate. I just cut off one of the stems. Cut it and put it in some water. And within a couple days there were roots. And what I did was line it over here by the eggplant. So there are 2 cinnamon basil plants over here. Also have a rosemary over here, which needs some more sun. This is a basil plant. I think it's Geneva basil. It's really enjoying itself over here too. And then this is just the other side of where the peppers are. So quite a few there. And sage. Alright, so here are the sunflowers. We also have some corn back there if you remember. But they're looking good. This one being the tallest of them all thus far. Sweet potato vines are coming along and of course growing all over the place, so hopefully we'll have a decent sweet potato harvest. These are volunteers, so not really sure what kind they are. This tomato plant here is a hillbilly tomato plant. I've been just trying to protect it from the cucumber plant. So this is the cucumber plant where we got a really nice sized cucumber off yesterday. It was just tucked away back in here. We didn't even see it, but it actually has another cucumber on it there. There's one right there. There's another little one on here too. I can't find it at the moment. So this plant is doing very, very well. More echinacea over here doing well. Our okra doing really well. Several plants are getting ready to flower. I'm so excited to see what that looks like back there. This is also part of the cucumber plant. There's a baby in there. This cucumber plant is probably one of the biggest cucumber plants I have ever seen. It's fascinating just how large and how much space it's taking up. So far, these are our favorite sunflowers. They're just beautiful colors. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other ones open up. We put a variety of sunflowers in this year, which we do, but not as varying in color. And then you can see the corn through there. We'll hit the back of that in a moment. Now, due to the cool temperatures and abundance of rain that we have had, I've not pulled all the beets yet. They are still really doing well and growing substantially. I go in every now and then and pick a few out just to make room and to eat them, of course. So, quite excited about the nice beet harvest that is yet to come. I knew the weather was cooling down and we were getting a lot of rain, so I just left them. We do have a tomato reseeded itself, just growing. That's a pepper plant. Here's another pepper plant. This one was one that was overwintered, and it's producing. I love my hot peppers. This is another pepper plant that was overwintered. As is this one. We actually pulled a red pepper off of this one, and you know, it has 3 more peppers on it, so they're looking lovely. And this is the other part of it. Just branched off there in the middle. This is also one that I believe was overwintered. I overwintered several peppers. Another basil. Bell peppers over this way. Technically that one could be pulled, but I'm going to leave it, wait for it to change colors. And just our mix of flowers over in that area. This is the replant of Azoichka tomatoes, I believe. We even have a couple coming on there from the suckers that I pulled off. Alright, this section was hit fairly substantially with vine borers and squash bugs. Again, vigilant, coming out every single day, picking, pulling, squishing, and they seem to be doing okay. The Kokosi across the way there, they actually got hit pretty hard with vine borers, but performed some quote-unquote surgeries, and they seem to be doing okay. Bouncing back nicely, but again, all the rain has helped a lot. Alright, so far tomatoes just growing rogue. Because we compost, we have so many volunteers, and that's okay. We leave them. If they get in the way, we'll pull them. Otherwise, we actually kind of enjoy leaving the volunteers and harvesting the stuff that comes that way. In our minds, they seem to be more resistant to like weather changes, and the seeds seem to be sturdier when we do harvest them. Alright, so we have a butternut growing, and we've worked hard to get this to trellis up and over, so hopefully we're going to be filling in here soon. We're trying to use vertical space, obviously. Our loofah finally decided. I think this area has been seeded at least 3 times, and of course when they come up, 5 of them come up, so that's great. Loofah tend to get very, very large. The goal is to train them to go up this old TV tower or whatever it is, and maybe even over this way, so potentially some things are going to be connecting. This back wall also, we have, I think, pumpkin growing up it. So that has been a challenge to keep the pumpkin from taking over the area where the loofah is. Some more suckers that were replanted from tomato plants. At this point, I have no idea which variety. Pole beans. They decided really to vine around one another more so than to crawl up things. However, they are starting to. Pole beans just get so large. We really probably did not think that one through. Volunteer tomato back here. Some more nasturtium back here. Volunteer pumpkin. We think it is actually wrapped down there and all the way around to the front. I cut off a lot of the leaves. I had a lot of squash bugs, seeds, eggs, whatever, not seeds. So, and it was also starting to grow onto the neighbor's property, so it got trimmed pretty substantially. Alright, one of the green bean beds. Not harvested a whole lot from this section, but that's okay. They're not ready. These 2 beds, however, we have already harvested 1.5 gallons of green beans. Well, they're technically fancy, so they're green, whitish color, and purple. With all the rain, I have no doubt we're going to be harvesting even more here soon. I just picked off the last of them, well, the last of the big ones yesterday. So one thing that we did last year that we did not do this year is we actually had, they weren't trellises, but they were markers, if you will, in between like rows. That was so much easier than just letting them grow hairy-carry like this. It was easier to harvest. So my recommendation, even if you put posts in like this that are lower to the ground and have string going across, something to separate the plants. They're falling all over one another, and it's really just creating a challenge, not only in finding the green beans, but also creating a challenge in not harming the plants as you're digging for green beans. Chamomile still doing good over here. Nasturtium doing well too. We obviously have something growing in here, some vine, and I thought I thought an avocado was starting to grow over here somewhere, but I don't know, chipmunks might have gotten it. Now I'm just seeing this for the first time. Have no idea what that is. We did not seed this bed. We actually put plants in here. So interesting. We have several things growing. So, I wonder what those will be. Alright, so here, all three of these cocosies I performed surgery on and just mounded up over the stem where I cut the stem open. I mean, they have new growth on them just in the time that I've done that. They seem to be doing okay and bouncing back. I'm hoping they're bouncing back enough to continue to give us fruit. Out of these 3 plants, we got 2 Kokosi zucchini, and that was it. Nasturtium bed. So periodically I come through, and the ones that are growing out of the bed, I go down and pinch them off, like a place like that, and I stick them in the dirt somewhere else in the garden. And they tend to grow just fine wherever I shove them in the dirt. And that helps keep this area nice and tidy, if you will. We also have some volunteer cherry tomatoes over here too, of some variety. Corn, one of the sunflowers already done. Alright, so this would be the pumpkin that is actually planted up and around over there. We didn't plant it there, it volunteered. So it's coming up from there, following all along the outside, and coming over this way. So as you can see, right, the vine is just gone. Surprisingly, I did not find any vine borers along the way, and it does not appear as if the plant is struggling. I mean, these flowers are substantial, the leaf substantial, so I think they're doing all right. So I'll just come through here. We've just been trying to train it to stay off of the road, which seems to be working. Alright, here, corn and okra. So really excited. The okra, several of them are getting ready to flower. And, so right there's ones, for example. I'm really excited to see all of these flower. And we have a pumpkin down through here. This is cantaloupe. We actually harvested a cantaloupe off of here the other day. It wasn't quite ready. It was buried down in here. We didn't even see I didn't even see it growing, and I thought it was more ready than it actually was, so it's just sitting out at the moment. Oh, here we are. So that's going to need to come out. Those are squash bug eggs. And even though cantaloupe, watermelon, they're not their choice, I have found them on a couple of these, but there's at least one squash bug living down in here somewhere. I found it the other day and I was trying to get it and it got away, so it does not surprise me that there are eggs over here. But I will obviously be coming over to look through more leaves and get rid of them. We're probably going to the extreme. We've actually just been pulling the leaves off themselves and burning the ones with eggs on them. We had such a bad infestation. I'm not wanting to take that chance again, so. Alright, so okra all through here, looking really well. Again, sweet potatoes, more okra, corn, right? Layout hasn't changed. And we're back around to where I harvested radishes. And our other pineapple. Potatoes, right? They're doing really well. And flowering, actually. Gorgeous. There are a variety of potatoes planted through this section here. Even though this is in the alley, it's doing really well. Nothing on it, but other than like fruit, no fruit on it. But surprisingly, it's growing pretty nicely. So these are straw flowers. I'm actually excited for them to open up fully. They really almost feel like wax paper. It's very neat. Okay, this pepper from Overwintered Pepper, doing really well. This one is also an Overwintered Pepper. Oh, this whole thing is just covered. Actually, I think there are 3 pepper plants in here, but this thing is covered. We've actually pulling off probably 10 of them and used them already. Some flowers, Egyptian walking onions. They're doing well. Oh, one of them over here is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. It's super cute. So, gets heavy, right? Falls over, reseeds itself. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. All right, Switch community, thanks for walking along with the tour today on the garden. And we hope that you have a wonderful afternoon. Remember to like and subscribe.